Thank you. Some very important information.
Pour connaître votre position de protection. Ne prenez aucun bagage avec vous. L'éclairage de plancher s'allumera et tout laissez à l'avant pour l'ajuster. Baissez dans votre siège. N'essayez pas de le récupérer.
It looks like you're having trouble. Turn around the other way. So you're not walking.
Hello and welcome to Vancouver. No, I didn't just book this trip to look at trains. I was there for 10 days getting footage of basically everything I could find specifically for this video series. When I first got to Vancouver, I needed to get from the airport out to my $31 a night Airbnb in Coquitlam. If you're familiar with the greater Vancouver area, those two places aren't exactly close. Every single day that I was there, I took the train for a little over an hour each way to and from downtown to explore Metro Vancouver. So by the end of the trip, I was relatively familiar with the transit system. Also, welcome back to Monstera. We are currently in Center Town, but we don't have an airport yet on the island, so I'm saving the northern tip of the island for said airport. To get to and from this airport, I would like to start on a passenger rail network for the above and below ground trains. One by one, we will design, build, and implement this rail network into our city. Keep in mind that I don't actually know how this works, and to be honest, I'm just kind of making it up as I go, so if you want to roast my design, feel free. Okay, here's the issue. Monstera only has 4 city blocks so far, 2 of which aren't even close to being done. So instead of building immediately in the city, we can go to our flat world and design a bunch of templates to make our build significantly faster. Let's start by creating a list of our components. We need above ground stations, below ground stations, rail between stations, a maintenance shed, offices and control room attached to this maintenance shed, and multiple train yards, with the largest being beside the maintenance shed. But, of course, we can't just make everything and throw it all together. We need a plan. So let's come up with a model to help visualize our network. I have an idea. First, let's model how trains move around the rails. Alright, so you're now a train. You like to eat electricity, and your favorite activity is moving people from place to place. You wake up in the morning in the train yard. There's a dead end behind you, but the rail in front of you is a branch that allows you and your fellow trains to get to and from the tertiary track. This tertiary track has a lead and connects to the secondary tracks for each direction alongside the main line. This tertiary track also has a branch down to the maintenance shed with an extra runoff track. The purpose of the extra tracks is so that trains going in and out of the yard and maintenance shed don't obstruct the main line. After joining the main line, you are now on the line that serves passengers. In between the 2 directions on the main line, I'm adding a third rail line as an express line. Depending on the time of day, trains will go one way or the other. There will be 3 general types of stations. The first is a station in which the main and express line both stop. The second is where the main line stops, but the express line keeps going through. And the third type is where the express does not exist in this station and it is only stops for the main line. These express trains will only stop at certain stations, allowing them to be much faster than the main line. New York City does this, and I've heard it works quite well. Stations with the express through or express stops will have 3 lanes. Before and after the main line exits or stations, there are switches in case something happens. This will allow the trains to maneuver around an obstacle, or even another train that for some reason is out of service. Second, we need to understand the experience of a pedestrian by starting outside the station and walking all the way through the station, all the way up to the train platform and boarding the train. So place your train station on either the corner of a large intersection or in the middle of a densely populated area. So we are in the city of Monstera now. Don't mind this plan here. I'll talk about that in a future episode, but that's just kind of the expansion for this area. Where I'm thinking of putting this is in this corner right here between this road and this road. Add some sort of marker so that people know that it's a train station. Next, you need a way to actually get to your train station. So you need to have a ramp going up and then some stairs. For the train station itself, you should have 2 or 3 entrances. Be very clear about the name of the station so that people don't get lost. Add some ticketing stations. Maybe a map of the area too. And then your front entrance with the gates. If you have multiple train lines, use different colors and make sure to have signs to mark the direction. Once you get inside, you can add a little office, you can have your stairs, add an escalator, and then an elevator too. As we build this station, we also need to create some standard sizes for trains to have a consistent platform size. Let's make these trains 4 blocks wide. I feel like 5 is slightly too big, and 3 is a little bit too small, but 4 seems like a good balance. For the minimum height for tunnels, stations, and overpasses, let's use 6 blocks of clear space above the rail. For the length of the train, I want it to be a good size to fit more passengers, so let's make the platform 75 meters long. Hey, so this is what I have so far. This is just kind of the main platform for the station. So I originally started with this over here. This is more of an above ground one, but I decided to do this kind of a template right here. So basically you see it's closed off on this side, and then on the other side here it's open. So this is based on the Commercial and Broadway station in Vancouver. Basically what it is that it has this one platform down here, and then this is like a green wall, except that this is open. So if I want to open this, then I can. And then on this side, it's like another rail right here, and then it drops down, and then probably like 6 or 7 meters below this line right here, there's another train line. So I guess I should probably address this, but the first thing you notice when I walk around here is that there's like these really vibrant colors. So it's just wool, that's all it is in CubePack. So this is cyan wool, and then we have like light blue wool and stuff. Basically the point of doing this is so that I can change the styles and materials and different textures and things like that when I do paste these train stations into Monstera. Because, you know, some of the different areas are going to be quite different in terms of the theme. So I want to be able to change the material to kind of fit it a little bit better. So I have the main components of this station here. And then on either end of the train line, I haven't built the actual rails yet. Well, aside from like this part right here. But I have it extended out by 5 blocks on each rail for each end. And once we are done the station here, what we're going to do is we're going to expand this. We're going to start with just some straight rail, and then we're going to start to get into curves, and then eventually some slopes. This is going to make it so that once we're actually putting this rail in place in the city, it's going to be a whole lot easier. Once you get up to the top, you can add your train platform. Make sure to have signs telling you how much time there is until the next train. You can have your elevators on the end, and then you have your escalator and your stairs.
Line 1, North Page.
Weather protection is very important, even though it's open on most sides. This side has glass, the other side does not, and then the ends obviously don't because the train needs to get in. So I want to take a second and show you the lighting around here, because it can get pretty dark if you don't have the lighting exactly where you want it. So first of all, we have these sea lanterns that are kind of lining this right here. It's right above your yellow line, which is where you should have the most light. If we come over here, you can't really see any light, but up here it's more of this like hidden light. So kind of same thing, but it shoots the light out this way. I'll throw on shaders here in a second to show you. Okay, so this is with shaders during the day. It's kind of throwing it off a little bit because the sun is very, very bright. So let me just change it to night. Okay, now that I see it at night, it is a little bit too dark maybe. So maybe I might add some lights like along here and along there. Actually, better yet, let's add lights along the full length of this. Yeah, okay, that's not too bad. There's definitely a lot more light being thrown around here. Yeah, I don't think that's a bad spot for it. I think that works pretty well. Feel free to add a sign to show you which way to go. And it's very important that you mark the station. That way, when you're getting off the train, you can look out the window and see where you are. So these columns here, I used them just to kind of define the shape a little bit more. I felt with nothing breaking up the vertical here, it just felt like way too long. So that's what I did. These are, I think they're 11 apart. Let me just double check. Yeah, so they're 11 apart. You have a column that's kind of hidden up behind this ceiling here. and then it goes up to this part right here and then connects over to here. And then it goes down by 1 and then continues right here. I know it's a little bit hard to see with the cyan versus light blue wool, but then it does continue over here to the other side. And if we fly over here, it goes here, it goes down, and then it connects to this kind of concrete thing that's kind of holding it all together. In terms of the roof, so this one here is like, you can tell it's completely covered, right? So basically what I'm planning on doing is having this part kind of open here, and then I'll probably have like an elevated street here, and then like maybe across here, and then I could have like a bridge or something over here where this goes underneath it. I think that would be some pretty cool depth to the city. But then this side here, this is like, it's open, right? You're not going to put anything on top of it. So I'm thinking about having it kind of indented into the ground. And then if you have like the ground or something built up, like a retaining wall, like kind of going from here up till here, then you can have your ground level right here, and then it can still be in line with your main floor of your train station. The reason I have these things in here, okay, so notice this here, right? They're on both sides, and they're both at the same height here. So without them, it feels like way too open. But as soon as you put these in here, it's gonna bring it like kind of down a little bit, make it more down to earth, I guess. You walk in here, it kind of guides your eye down rather than it just having this like giant gap. I'm also still not sure about this train design. I wanted to have like really thin walls, so these are just trapdoors, right? These are kind of modeled after Vancouver SkyTrain a little bit, I guess. I was kind of looking at some reference images, but basically it's like 2 cars. So you have this one and then you have this one, and then this is kind of like a divider in the middle. It's like the accordion thing, the thing that bends in the middle so that the train has more mobility, so that it's not just like one giant rigid train. Then basically what I did is I just like took this and then copied it back here. I originally started this train right here, but then I copied it over here so I could make some templates. This first one here, it doesn't have any platforms on either side, so all of the doors are closed. This second one, it has this yellow wool here, and then the doors are open on one side. But then if we go here, same thing, but it's just the opposite side. And then this very last one here, this has entrances on both sides, because sometimes you will need them to open on both sides.
Transferring between lines, use escalators and then bridges over top to connect to the other line. And once again, every time you go up and down, make sure you have escalators, stairs, and elevators. It also never hurts to have help desks. When you're designing your platforms, you can choose one of 2 ways. So you can have a single central platform, or you can have a split platform where you have one on this side and then one on the other side going in the opposite direction.
The only reason that I brought these columns up here is because they line up with the columns directly below. So if I want to, then I can bring it up and then do something with them. It's just kind of so I know where they are.
Line 1, North Stage.
And then there you go, you made it.
In the next episode, I'll be taking you on a tour of the city of Monstera so far. So if that's something that might interest you, then if you're not subscribed already, feel free to click the subscribe button. And if you'd like to help me be able to reach more people who may also enjoy this content, feel free to click like. Special thanks to my Patreon supporters. If you would like to check out my Patreon, you will get early access to videos and credit at the end of each video.